Oprah Winfrey. Who would have guessed that this woman, famous for handing out cars on her talk show, is being cancelled by the entire world? And why, you may ask? Well, Oprah made a career-ending mistake when herself and Dwayne Johnson broke the one rule of being a billionaire. Don't ask poor people for their money. A few weeks ago, Oprah and The Rock announced that they would be starting a relief fund for the victims of the Maui wildfires. The People's Fund of Maui was given a solid $10 million to get off the ground, $10 million donated by Oprah and Dwayne combined. So why is it just Oprah that's getting so much hate? Well, it's because she has a net worth of roughly $2.8 billion. That is billion, with a B. The world is collectively furious at Oprah for having the audacity to ask working class citizens for charity when most people can barely afford to put food on their tables. The Rock and Oprah donated $5 million each to give the fund a head start. Well, guess what? $5 million to Oprah is like $500 to us. Just chump change. Oprah has responded to the backlash online and is very confused as to where all this hate is coming from. Oprah has been known for a long time as being a pretty charitable woman. Who could forget Oprah's famous "you get a car, everyone gets a car" moment? The moment was historical on her series and it was parodied time and time again, and it still does to this day. However, what a lot of people don't know is that that wasn't really the case. It wasn't as simple as "here are your keys, have fun." Whenever someone gives out anything, especially on television, there's always a catch. For Oprah's audience, the catch was that if they actually wanted to drive away in their brand new car, they would have to pay over $7,000 first in taxes. While Oprah's studio would of course cover like the sales tax and the registration for each car, the audience members were given a choice to either pay the $7,000 and take the car or simply take the cash instead. The infamous moment on the show featured 11 real teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a new car. They, along with the audience, received keys in a box on camera that Oprah claimed to be for their new cars. Everything has a catch though, even now. For someone who's known for being charitable and generous, the word free clearly means something else to Oprah. Now, the world is understandably frustrated. Imagine someone with a physical gold bar around their neck asking you for spare change on the street. Hey, what's that thing around your neck? It's shiny, it makes me feel bad about myself. Use that. Oprah has always been a little bit twisted. Let's not forget just what her show really is. Oprah used to bring the most vulnerable people that she could find onto the show to share their stories. While some were just actors, gurus, or people sharing positive tragedies, there were also just so many people who would just cry on her show. And let's not forget the other careers that this woman is responsible for creating, especially programs with some of her friends. Oprah is not just responsible for many hopes and dreams being squashed live on air, she's actually also the creator of a couple of talk show celebrities, namely health expert Dr. Oz and of course the so-called life coach, Dr. Phil. Before Dr. Phil had his own show, Oprah actually asked him and his courtroom consulting firm to help with a trial. Before meeting Oprah, Phil apparently had zero interest in being a television personality, but Oprah made him see the light, so to speak. According to Phil, she helped him understand the power of these shows and what they were truly made for. For Phil, he brings people onto his show who are struggling with personal issues that just so happen to be good for TV. Remember the Catch Me Outside girl? Dr. Phil made her rich and famous. Good job, buddy. But it's not just Phil that's had some controversial moments. Her other protege, Dr. Oz, has had some pretty rough moments as well. His show is centered around medicine and health, which is never controversial, right? Bringing so-called experts on every week. My mother absolutely loved this guy, and she will not stop hammering in his tactics. Oprah was partnered with both of these people, meaning that whatever their shows made, she got a little bit of something for her trouble. Now, she doesn't like to advertise how much she actually made from these programs, but considering how many episodes there have been and how long the programs have run for, it's probably a lot. Like, think about all of the money that this woman has made off of the tragedies of others. This situation with Maui is just another one of the many so-called foundations and charities that she's behind. Now, while some have been extremely beneficial to the world, especially the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, others are just clear cash grabs and bragging right makers like this one. If Oprah really wanted to make a difference and truly help the people of Maui, she would have donated $10 million by herself and gotten Dwayne to match it or something. But let's not forget about the other person involved in the situation, Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. He's one of the busiest and most bankable men in Hollywood. This man has appeared in everything, and he even turned himself into a superhero when he played Black Adam. His power and influence knows no bounds. Now, of these two, we understand why Dwayne would feel that this is an important cause, because he has family on the island and spent a ton of time in Maui growing up. Now, Oprah is just Oprah. She actually purchased a property in Maui not long before the fires broke out. Many believe that the only reason that she even cares about the situation is because she owns land there. If she was still living in the States, she would have continued to live her life without a care in the world. The proof that they believe Maui is home is comparing their efforts to that of Dolly Parton, who organized a foundation to assist people in Tennessee after a wildfire destroyed thousands of homes. I've actually stayed in Gatlinburg, where she's from, many times. It is a beautiful town, but from what I understand, the resort that I used to stay at with my family has practically been burned down to the ground. Dolly did an incredible job and continues to do humanitarian work across the US and around the world to this day. However, when Oprah asked people to do it, it just felt weird. Like someone who was not from this place was taking a vested interest in the situation. Before this Maui situation though, Oprah was a well-respected TV host. But as it turns out, there might have been some dark truths behind the production of her show that should have been red flag after red flag. Case in point, the confidentiality agreements. Now, confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Heck, Marvel will literally have someone take you out if you even think about sharing their secrets. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions the confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guest stars were made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the person who made his muffins. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign this document, but one former employee, Elizabeth Cody, tried to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was apparently stopped by the courts, still being tied to this agreement that she had signed even though she didn't really work for the show anymore. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to keep just the show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the document was signed by almost everyone in Oprah's life. She may have this brand of sweetness and kindness, but apparently that's just not how she is. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket, so to speak, after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, a lawsuit was filed against Oprah and her company. Unicus Performance Training claimed that they were fired for violating the terms of her agreement, specifically involving advertisement with her name or the website of the show. But it's not only the former staff that are made to keep silent. Oprah's own family has spoken out about her past behavior since the news of this scandal broke a few weeks ago. On air, Oprah is portrayed as this wholesome, sweet lady, but according to her stepmother, there is an unknown side to Oprah hidden from fans for years. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people you will ever meet. She claims that Oprah would not allow them to stay at her house when they tried to visit, forcing her own parents to stay in hotels with money out of their pockets. Barbara also said that Oprah was quick to anger, especially when it came to her staff, with several people being fired left and right over the years for the littlest things. But that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara actually lets Oprah stay at her home when she visits, which is something that Oprah apparently just hates. The first time she ever stayed over, Oprah allegedly complained that her bed sheets were not 1,000 threads and that her bath towels weren't big enough. That last one's a little excusable, okay? If you ever used a giant bath towel, I'm never going back. This woman has billions of dollars to do literally anything she wants, and what she wants is to make her family feel like a burden. It turns out that her wild child behavior though started a long time ago, well before she was a TV host, way back when she was just a little one. Several books have been published about Oprah over the years, some from her and some that are not. In her own book that she wrote, Oprah revealed that growing up she was far from an easy kid to handle. When she was young, she was sent to live with her father Vernon after she was caught stealing from her mother's purse. Despite being an on-screen persona known for charity and kindness, she was actually a menace throughout most of her life, according to family members at least. As I've mentioned previously, Oprah's stepmother is not allowed to stay at her house, and she is known to be pretty controlling. She admitted to doing some pretty troubling things at a very young age, including staging an amnesia bout where she broke several things in her mother's house and then called the police. According to Oprah's mother, she was uncontrollable, ungrateful, and after robbing her, maybe a little bit crazy. As the situation continues, more and more is surely going to come out of the situation with Oprah. While the current news is that the fund is active, she is inactive and refuses to discuss the backlash with anyone. She recently made a television appearance giving one of her most honest interviews of all time, discussing things like her use of Ozempic, obesity in general, and the shame that surrounds weight loss supplements. That's nice, but where's the money talk? People loved Oprah up until a few weeks ago, and now she won't even comment on the hate that she's receiving. Number 10. Amber Heard. According to the internet, Amber Heard is not only an actress, but she's also a humanitarian and a social activist. Okay, sure. She got her big film break starring in the horror movie All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, but I was genuinely shocked when I saw what movies she's also been in. Did you guys know that she was 406 in the movie Zombieland? And she was Seth Rogen's love interest in Pineapple Express. Oh, and she's the reason that Aquaman 2 is gonna be delayed. Since 2016, Amber Heard and her ex-husband Johnny Depp have been throwing accusations at each other left and right. They were accusing each other of domestic altercations that may or may not have taken place during their brief one-year marriage. Those accusations were confirmed during their very public trial in which Depp was suing Amber for defamation over a 2018 op-ed for the Washington Post. While the trial brought to light some disturbing truths on both sides, the biggest shock came when after several days of interviews, witness statements, and mountains of paperwork, a jury found that Amber's statements were in fact false and granted Depp the defamation. Amber had filed a countersuit, which she also kind of technically won, but it was way less than what Johnny got. Sound files, video footage, and witnesses gave concrete evidence that Amber was the instigator in many of their disputes and that she was subsequently fired from any and all future projects. Number 9. Ellen DeGeneres. In her first on-air appearance since announcing the end of her eponymous daytime talk show, Ellen DeGeneres called the press cycle around allegations of toxicity at her workplace orchestrated and misogynistic. The announcement that her show would be cancelled came after months of receiving negative press following a BuzzFeed article reporting former employees alleging the environment was racially insensitive, filled with harassment and, hey, bullying too. Ellen maintained in interviews that these allegations were not the reason that she would be leaving the show, simply claiming that the program was no longer challenging for her. While the BuzzFeed report did not allege toxic behavior by Ellen herself, several former staff members claimed the whole "Be Kind" motto was not genuine at all, which was reflected in a Twitter thread published by comedian Kevin T. Porter. He asked people to send in their horror stories about the host's rudeness over the years and received over 2,000 replies. Warner Brothers opened an investigation and included that there were some flaws in the day-to-day management of the studio. Following this, Ellen appeared on the 18th season premiere of her show in 2020 and made an on-air apology to viewers, claiming responsibility, later stating that there was no way that she could know the true nature of the work environment due to the 255 employees that worked for her across multiple buildings. Okay, hey, ever heard of a complaint box? Number 8. Katy Perry collects hair. The singer was once asked during an interview a very simple and cute question of, hey, what's in your purse? And fans perhaps hoped that she would respond with like a bottle of Killer Queen, which was her, cologne, or cupcake crumbs, but Katy Perry answered with, oh, it's just a big empty bag, and then went on to describe what used to be in it. You see, she claimed that while in attendance at her first Grammy Award ceremony that she got to share a dressing room with Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. Now, with all that excitement, you'd think she'd ask for a picture, right? Yeah, no, she asked them for a lock of each of their hair, which Katy found, quote, like totally awesome, but hey, that's weird because ugh. She then elaborated that she would tie little bows to each of them and like put them in her purse. This sounds so made up, like how could that be true? No, Miley and Taylor actually backed that story up online, and Perry claims to this day that Miley Cyrus is the most famous person in her purse and in her contact books. Nice. Number 7. Josie Smollett. In 2019, American actor Josie Smollett, best known for his role in the Mighty Ducks movies and his time as Jamal Leon on the show Empire, approached the Chicago Police Department to report a hate crime. According to himself, 2 unknown individuals appeared from the shadows and began harassing Josie. They flung racial and homophobic slurs at Smollett, while one attacker poured a flammable substance on him, and the other began to insert his head into some rope. News of this altercation made headlines in the following days, as it was announced that an investigation would be made to help piece together what exactly happened. Well, too bad for Josie, the Chicago PD are pretty good at their jobs. They quickly found that the 2 strangers in question were 2 Nigerian brothers named Abimbola and Olambinjo, who had worked as extras on the set of Empire. They raided the brothers' home and found documents confirming the pair had been paid $3,500 each to stage the event. They had video footage of the brothers purchasing the masks, gloves, and hats that are seen in the altercation footage. They also found receipts for the liquid and rope used during during the attack. Hey, not a great time to keep track of your finances, guys. In 2019, Smollett was charged with a Class 4 felony for filing a false police report, and on top of that, the Chicago PD was suing him for $130,000 for wasting their time and resources on a fake incident. In the end, he spent 150 days in jail and coughed up a lot of the cash. Number 6. Kylie Cosmetics. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand, previously only available online and in random pop-up stores, to be placed on shelves and in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where these products come from. You see, rumors of Kylie's mistreatment for her employees were circulating for weeks after several claims from former employees were made public. It turns out every single thing that they said was true. Many people at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products would report that they were never actually given proper safety equipment that you would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and faces completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and chemical burns varying in severity. Now, if this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. This woman was on the cover of Forbes magazine. She was so proud of her company for not testing products on animals, but like, can we agree that using people is like a billion times worse? Number 5. King Charles's affair. The recently crowned King of England has not always played by the rules. In 1981, Prince Charles married Lady Diana, who was 20 years old at the time, leaving a 13-year age gap between them. Behind closed doors, it was speculated that Charles was never actually in love with Diana in the first place, and that was later proven to be true. While things seemed pleasant on the outside, behind the scenes, Charles was secretly meeting up and having an affair with his ex-girlfriend, Camilla Bowles. The alleged relationship was written about in the 1992 Diana, Her True Story, but in 1994, Charles actually confirmed the allegations in a documentary, because that's the perfect place to do it. The couple filed for a divorce in 1996, and Diana died 1 year later. While the now king made it clear that he had no plans to remarry, he ended up getting remarried in 2005 to, oh hey look, it's Camilla Bowles, shocking. Number 4. Arnold's love child. Action movie star and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger made headlines in 2011 with the revelation that an old rumor was in fact true. In 1996, Arnold was married to Maria Shriver, a member of the Kennedy family, and they were prepping to welcome their new son Christopher into the world. Arnie didn't prep by building them cribs or baby-proofing the outlets though. Instead, he decided to have an affair with his longtime housekeeper Mildred Baina. Around the same time Christopher was born, so was his illegitimate son, Joseph. Rumors began to rise after his wife noticed the strange and sudden absence of the housekeeper and wondered if there might have been a more sinister reason for her departure. It was later revealed in 2011 that Arnold decided to address those rumors and claim Joseph as his own. Turns out Arnold had given Mildred a large severance package back in the day so she could properly raise their son, leaving on what they call good terms. Well, eventually, after many years of trying and lots of paperwork, Maria and Arnold were divorced, and he's now able to spend more time as a papa. Number 3. Donald Trump's criminal activities. In 2006, Donald Trump was known solely as a wealthy real estate mogul with a hit reality TV show, The Apprentice. He had recently been married to one Melania Trump, and they had a newly born 4-month-old baby. However, reports leaked that Trump was in the midst of an affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels after she filed a civil suit claiming the contract he made her sign to keep quiet was invalid. Daniels claimed that herself and Trump had shared an intimate relationship for roughly a year during his marriage to Melania. These weren't the first allegations of an affair, as Trump has been back and forth in the media since the 1970s, being accused by like 26 women of misconduct. While these rumors never held any merit at first, the truth was finally set free. After being the most chaotic president in recent history, it was announced in March that Trump was going to be arrested on 34 separate violations of a New York law against falsifying business documents to conceal another crime. Over the years, he was essentially taking company money and using it to pay off anyone who may have been a threat to him, both personally or politically. Thanks for the free money, Donnie. Number 2. Paula Deen. Paula Deen is basically Martha Stewart just from the South. Paula opened her first restaurant in a Best Western lodge in Savannah and called it The Lady in 1991. She went on to own and operate several of her own restaurants, as well as hosting a very popular cooking show called Paula's Home Cookin'. Paula shared her recipes for delicious home-cooked meals and took the cooking world by storm, until 2013 when it was revealed that maybe Paula shouldn't be allowed to have a phone. Rumors had been circulating of a more sinister persona buried beneath the warm, sweet southern lady we saw on TV, and it turned out those rumors were confirmed by Paula herself. Paula admitted to using racial slurs on her social media posts in the past. She would post these rants and aggressive comments, and then she would just immediately delete them to like avoid being blasted in the media. Well, hey, the internet's forever, Paula, and Paula's cooking show got cancelled. It's all good though. She started another show on the very successful streaming device Roku. You know, so popular, just so popular. Number 1, Michael Richards. Michael Richards played one of the most famous sitcom characters of all time on one of the most famous sitcoms of all time. He played Cosmo Kramer on the show Seinfeld for 9 years, and in that time made fans laugh and cry with his hilarious antics and wild lifestyle. Unfortunately, those laughs and cries turned to boos and anger. In 2006, Michael made an appearance at the Laugh Factory in California, where he went on a racially fueled tirade after responding to a heckler in the audience. Rumors of his bias had been circulating for a few years, as Richard wasn't a stranger to using choice words and phrases in his stand-up acts that were considered offensive and racist. Since the reveal of his true behavior, Richards has received an enormous amount of backlash and has given up comedy for good. He was also brought on as a guest on Jerry Seinfeld's popular show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee and addressed the situation with Seinfeld. Richards seemed very apologetic, and he understood that what he said and did was wrong. But hey man, the words that he spoke that night still circulate the internet to this day. So, sorry Michael.
And at number 10 we have The Weeknd. The Weeknd has famously stood his ground against the Grammys after he received 0 nominations for this year's Grammys, even though he had more commercial success than most other artists. He expressed his anger in a tweet after nominations were revealed, where he wrote, quote, "The Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and the industry transparency." He said in a statement later that he would be boycotting the Grammys for good, saying, quote, "I will no longer allow my label to submit my music to the Grammys because of secret committees. And these committees are selected by the Recording Academy to review and select nominations before they're given out to the entire committee to vote for the winner. These committees are also able to add artists who receive 0 nominations in all but the 4 primary categories. His outrage has caused tons of artists and fans to support him in boycotting the award show. Also, the show is being called the Scammies online rather than the Grammys. And at number 9, Britney Spears. Britney's been shedding light on her scary conservatorship situation since 2019. Britney's been under the care of a conservator since 2008, with her being unable to control many aspects of her life financially and even socially. Since 2019, her father Jamie has had sole control of the conservatorship. This is when she started fighting, and she's petitioned the courts to have someone else put on that conservatorship other than her father. A documentary called Framing Britney Spears that was recently released also highlighted on the constraints in Britney's life, as well as touching on how negative media coverage of her has caused her mental health to suffer. This has also caused the Free Britney movement to gain traction online, and I'm just so happy that her fans finally know the truth about her situation so we can support her when needed. And at number 8, Taylor Swift. Right as Calvin Harris and Taylor Swift had their messy split, a big secret was exposed. The demise of this couple is directly related to the success of the hit song, This Is What You Came For. The song became a huge hit when it was released by Calvin Harris in collaboration with Rihanna, but we later learned that Taylor actually wrote the song and brought it to Calvin, where they collaborated on it. But they decided not to release it together, but rather give Taylor credit through a pseudonym, Niels Seiberg. However, months later after it became a hit, Calvin would ask if he would ever collaborate with Taylor. When he said no and didn't reveal that Taylor was a huge part in his current hit song, Taylor decided to expose that she co-wrote it. He then clapped back on Twitter, tweeting, quote, "I figure if you're happy in your new relationship, you should focus on that, instead of trying to tear your ex-boyfriend down for something to do. I know you're off on tour and you need someone new to try and bury like Katie, etc., but I'm not that guy. Sorry, I won't allow it." And oh boy, did that just open up another whole separate can of worms, because that whole situation was very, very juicy and exposed a lot. And at number 7, Ronan Farrow. Ronan Farrow was the first person to blow the lid on the horrible actions of disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Ronan even published a book, Catch and Kill, which details his reporting process in investigating Weinstein's treatment of women. After his book came out, many Hollywood actresses came forward with their stories against the producer. This led to him being convicted of multiple crimes related to harmful and indecent behavior towards women. Farrow's reporting not only exposed many secrets in Hollywood, but gained tons of support for the Me Too movement that became popularized around that time. He ended up winning a Pulitzer Prize for his reporting as well. And at number 6, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle exposed secrets of the royal family in her tell-all interview with Oprah last month. In the 2-hour-long interview, she spoke of why her and Harry decided to leave the royal family and the treatment that she was subjected to. She said that the negative treatment by not only the family but the media pushed her mental health to the breaking point, and she even considered taking her own life at one point. She also said that when she went to the palace to get help, they did nothing, forcing her and Harry to leave. She also discussed negative differences between her children and other royal grandchildren, citing skin color as the reason for this, with her even mentioning mentioning at one point that questions surrounding how dark Archie's skin would be when he was born was a point of conversation. Halfway number 5, Nikki DeJagger. YouTube star Nikki Tutorials was one of the first mainstream celebrities that had the guts to expose Ellen for how she treated people. Nikki went on the Ellen show after her coming out video went viral, but she exposed that the experience was not so great on a Dutch late night show. In that interview, when the host asked Nikki how her time on Ellen was, Nikki did not hold back, calling Ellen distant and cold, saying that Ellen didn't even come say hi to her before the show. Nikki said in another interview that Ellen also did not let her use the bathroom. Apparently the Jonas Brothers were on the show that same day, and Ellen didn't have enough for everyone. I do not believe that for 1 second. And honestly, after all that was exposed was when I believe Ellen's downfall really began. And at number 4, Johnny Depp. After Amber Heard made allegations that her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, had been physical with her, Johnny has been doing everything in his power to clear his name. And a lot has been exposed that has made tons of Hollywood stars flock to support Johnny in his legal battle with Amber. After her allegations were made, a leaked phone call exposed that Amber had admitted to being physical with Johnny. As well, plenty of friends and employees of Amber's came forward to say that she lied about having bruises on her face, such as her stylist and even her assistant. And over time, as more comes to light, it seems that Johnny has been the one telling the truth. And at number 3, Prince. Another artist that has exposed the music industry was Prince. He made negative statements after he decided to release his newest album at that time exclusively to Tidal. When speaking about why he sidestepped working with the label on his project, he said, quote, "Record contracts are just like, I'm gonna say the word, slavery. I would tell any young artist, don't sign." He also stated that record labels turn artists into, quote, indentured servitude, as artists have little control over how their music is used or how much money is made off of it. And these statements were not the first time that he called out the business. Back in 1993, while he was fighting with Warner Brothers over his contract, he frequently appeared on stage with the word written on his face. And at number 2, Kanye West. Kanye West straight up hates the music business and has expressed frustration over contracts, as well as the fact that he does not own his own masters. Last year, he called the music industry and the NBA, quote, modern day ships, while he was fighting to own his masters. He added on Twitter, quote, "When you sign a music deal, you sign away your rights. Without the masters, you can't do anything with your own music. Someone else controls where it's played and when it's played. Artists have nothing except fame, touring, and merch." Adding later that his children will own his masters, not the children of record executives. Kanye has also created his own label, Good Music, where he pledges to have fair contracts for his artists. And finally at number 1, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt still have not settled their divorce and will be going to court soon to work out their child custody. Angelina is adamant about getting full custody of her children, and a new report from The Blast claims that Jolie is prepared to submit proof of domestic harm from Pitt in their marriage. These rumors first came to light in 2016 after the divorce, when Pitt was being investigated by social services for allegedly being physical with one of their kids on a private jet. However, after the investigation, the claims were dropped. The documents also show that Angelina is planning on having her children testify as well. Depending on what is revealed during that case, a massive secret could be revealed about Pitt, but we'll have to wait until more information comes out before we start making any assumptions.
Number 10. Fumbling the anthem. In 2017, Shakira received the distinct honor of performing the national anthem at the Vai Cumbres de las Americas, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. The event was held at Cartagena, Colombia, with several high-profile politicians, including Barack Obama. Shakira is known for her incredible stage performance and equally impressive voice. However, during her performance of the event, she fumbled the national anthem, much like I fumbled the pronunciation of things in this list. One of those songs that is burned into your memory quick and easy, you know, the national anthem. She completely fumbled the performance, even mispronouncing a few of the words, enraging Latin America. She received a massive amount of backlash from a ton of people, not just from Latin America. Turns out everyone around the world was a little upset about this one, and as a way to say, hey, I know what I'm doing, she posted a video of herself redoing the national anthem on her YouTube channel that, oh, she didn't fumble. Well, if you have more time, I guess it makes more sense that it turned out better when you rehearsed longer. Number 9. Plagiarism. Shakira and fellow Colombian artist Carlo Vives released La Bicicleta in 2017, becoming a massive hit and getting stuck in everybody's head. Musician Livin Castellanos heard this song and felt a sense of home and comfort. Well, it turns out that it's because Shakira stole his song. According to Livin, Shakira stole his tunes and used similar lyrics to that of his 1997 song Yo Te Quiero Tanto. Shakira and her team appeared at the Madrid court in March of 2019 for their defense. Dance. Both artists dispute the claims and were happy to be given a chance to clear their names of plagiarism. Despite the similarities to the song, it was not enough for a judge to convict them, and both artists were cleared of any plagiarism charges. La Bicicleta won 2 of the 3 biggest Grammy Latino awards for 2016, including Song and Record of the Year. Number 8. The tax fraud. While their hips may not lie, she does. Famous pop singer Shakira made headlines in 2018 when Spanish prosecutors announced that she failed to pay $14.5 million in European taxes between 2012 and 2014. Shakira claimed that her primary residence at the time was the Bahamas, but authorities say that she was living in Barcelona during that time in a house that she purchased in May of 2012. Shakira was adamant that this never took place and that the Spanish government were just trying to ruin her name and squeeze cash out of her. She dodged the Spanish government for years until she was forced to pay the full $3 million plus interest, but the law didn't stop there, as they apparently continue to berate her to this day, claiming there is still money being owed on her account. Shakira finally had enough and decided to stop avoiding the law and face them head on, beginning a lawsuit which did not go her way. This past week, Spain charged her with tax evasion for a second time, claiming that she failed to pay over $6 million in 2018. She has been notified of the charges, but so far there are no specifics on if she will get handcuffed or if there will be another court case. Number 7. Caught lip syncing. Shakira is still known as being one of the most incredible live performers of all time. For over 20 years, this woman has been shaking, shimmering, and acting. Remember when she was on Wizards of Waverly Place? That was cool. At this year's Video Music Awards, Shakira was the recipient of the Video Vanguard Award, an award that she absolutely deserved to receive. Her music is timeless, she can dance like nobody's business, and somehow she doesn't age. She's 46 years old and still moves like it's her first year on tour. The performance before she accepted the award was chock full of fun, her background dancers are on point, and the choreography is solid. Shakira grinds and shakes over and over before making her way to the crowd to partake in a little bit of surfing, and that's when something strange happened. Despite being picked up and moved by hundreds of fans in the crowd, her voice never changed and every note was perfect. After she made her way up to a platform to finish the show, you can hear a change in the audio. When she says goodnight, the mic sounds super different than it had been for the entire performance. It was revealed following the show that the mic was actually never on, and that in fact she was lip syncing with the music. Realistically, this isn't the first time she's had to do something like this, but it seems like her fans just don't care, and they were just happy to see Shakira on stage. So what if there's a little bit of a backtrack, you know? Number 6. The Disney cameo. Wizards of Waverly Place. Yeah, I just mentioned it. For those who don't know, this was a Disney series that spanned 4 seasons and a movie surrounding a family of wizards that owned a sandwich shop in New York City. And while the plot is ridiculous, the show somehow worked, and it's gone down as one of the best shows to come out of the mid-2000s in Disney. One episode early in the show saw Shakira making a cameo as herself, kinda. In season 3, episode 12, Dude Looks Like Shakira, Selena Gomez's uncle is revealed to be impersonating Shakira on stage. Like, Shakira doesn't actually exist, it's just him. In this show, Shakira is not real, Uncle Kelbo made her up. As part of the running gag of the episode, Kelbo keeps uncontrollably shifting back and forth between himself and Shakira, meaning that for a good chunk of this episode, Shakira is on screen playing herself, and she took that time to sing, dance, and part of the episode is literally just Shakira being like, look at all my fans, I have to dance for them. Disney gave her a free ad, and it was honestly super entertaining. I didn't know who Shakira was when I saw this episode for the first time, so as an adult, it just feels wrong for some reason. Number 5, the 2020 Super Bowl. The 2020 Super Bowl saw 2 pop icons taking stage and making the night about them and not football. Shakira and Jennifer Lopez appeared together, and they absolutely slayed their performances. Their performance has gone down in history as the most memorable and shimmy-filled night in the NFL. Unfortunately, Jennifer did not want to share the stage. Following the show, as part of her Netflix documentary Halftime, it was revealed that she was extremely annoyed at the NFL for forcing her to share the stage when she felt strong enough on her own, literally calling it the worst idea in the world. Her main concern was the fact that herself and Shakira were meant to occupy and share the same amount of stage time as a normal solo act, rather than doubling it like she assumed would happen. Solo artists are normally given between 12 and 16 minutes of stage time. Most artists use that time to do a mashup of their most popular songs, and it's usually makes for a very memorable and unique live show. In the documentary, a clip revealed that Jennifer actually yelled at her music director, complaining that she had 6 effing minutes, 30 seconds per song. That wasn't enough. The worst idea is not putting multiple people on stage, okay? One of the most recent performances on the Super Bowl stage saw 6 major artists share 12 minutes of screen time. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar were able to make it work, and work super well, but Jen couldn't even fathom the 6 minutes she had to share with Shakira. Ugh. Number 4, Gerard Piqué. Shakira and Gerard were together for over 10 years, announcing their joint separation in June of 2022. They met on the set of the music video Waka Waka, being the official song of the 2010 FIFA World Cup, which we'll get into in a couple of minutes. Multiple soccer stars made their way into her videos, including Gerard, and it was love at first sight. As the years went by, the relationship seemed to be thriving on paper, but it was later revealed that it might not have been all peaches and cream. On the outside, they had a family that was always smiling, but as 2022 approached, there were rumors circulating that Gerard was cheating on Shakira for quite some time, but at the time, there was no concrete proof. However, his bounce back after the divorce was quick and a red flag, but after coming to an agreement on custody, Shakira threw some shade his way, writing a song roasting his choice to date a 23-year-old. The roasting was warranted, as it was revealed that not only was he cheating on her, like a lot, but that he did it while she was visiting her father in the ICU. What a scumbag. Number 3, 2010 FIFA World Cup. In 2010, the World Cup made its way to South Africa, where Shakira was invited to be a musical guest and tasked with creating the anthem for the event. That anthem was the song Waka Waka. The songs performed at the event have always been meant to be inoffensive pop, just something to make people dance and get hyped for the World Cup showdown. However, Waka Waka stirred up a ton of controversy among the fans. It turns out that before she even took the stage, local talk and radio shows were receiving calls with complaints as to why Shakira was chosen to perform rather than an African artist. Many South Africans were claiming to boycott the event, but that of course never happened. FIFA just eventually decided to expand their list of artists performing at the event to include more African artists, to the delight of thousands. Now, while Shakira did almost derail this one, it was FIFA that picked up the pieces. Shakira took the stage and a lot of people were excited, but there was an equal number of confused faces. At the end of the day, it was not the worst thing that ever happened, but came pretty close. Number 2, Rihanna Team Up. These two pop megastars teamed up to create the song Can't Remember to Forget You, a massive hit accompanied by a very controversial music video. The video saw Rihanna and Shakira wearing skimpy outfits and getting pretty cozy. Very cozy. Nothing too out of the ordinary for these two really, but for some people it was a little bit too much apparently. A conservative councilman from Bogota named Marco Fidel Ramirez sought to share a petition asking for her music to be prohibited from being shown anywhere, claiming it to be promoting female lovemaking. The councilman tweeted literally disgusting underneath a still from the music video. There was a few countries that were claiming lady love was distracting them and that it was not in tune with their values. Well, despite that, the song and the video hit big for the fans of the people who were really the people who mattered in that situation. And at number 1, Antonio de la Rua. One of 2 long-term relationships in Shakira's life, her time with Antonio went down in flames again after only 10 years. 10 years seems to be her time limit. Antonio, the son of the former president of Argentina and a lawyer, had minimal fame on his own. So when he got together with Shakira, his name became a headline across the globe. He met and dated Shakira for a long time, but then they suddenly split after 10 years together. And many rumors have run rampant over the years that this guy was cheating on Shakira. First of all, how could you cheat on this woman? Secondly, the rumors were backed up by several photos of Tony dancing with women who were not Shakira. No Shakira in sight, while they were in fact still together. When the divorce came, it was Antonio that decided to sue Shakira for an astonishing $250 million. And as we know, the court case was eventually thrown out and Antonio walked away with nothing, but this was just a first in a long slew of court appearances that Shakira would be making over the next few years.
Do you recognize the voices on that tape? Mm-hmm. And who are the people on that tape?
It's Johnny and I.
Okay.
A friend of Johnny Depp, Isaac Baruch, also gave evidence describing photos of injuries to Amber Heard as phony baloney. He says she was trying to extort and blackmail him.
Amber Heard made her film debut from a minor role back in 2004 in Friday Night Lights, and from there she worked pretty consistently in Hollywood and landed some bigger roles. Perhaps the biggest one was when she acted alongside Johnny Depp in The Rum Diary.
This one or this one?
What are these for? Party?
It's for Carnival.
The pair were cast as each other's love interests in the film adaptation of Hunter S. Thompson's novel, although they didn't officially begin dating until 2012 after Depp and his longtime partner Vanessa called it quits. Depp and Heard kept their relationship extremely private until they made their first appearance as a couple at the 7th annual Heaven Gala in January of 2014. And just a few days later, the couple was engaged. After getting married in 2015, their love and joy for each other though would be very short-lived. According to Variety, Johnny Depp had suffered a bad hand injury while he was filming Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales in Australia. Although this hand injury wasn't anything like from a dangerous movie stunt, but rather due to an argument that he had with Amber Heard. Then in March of 2015, Depp was reportedly injured again, but this time it was from a massive fight that led to smashed bottles and broken windows. According to reports, this fight led to Depp accidentally slicing off a portion of one of his fingers. Also, I'm speaking a lot about what happened to Johnny Depp in this video because you can't really speak about the truth of Amber Heard without mentioning how she's affected him. Before Amber, Depp was rarely in the press, but as soon as they became a couple, it felt like they were in the news for something every other day. Which, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to piece together that she may have been the catalyst to all of this madness. I mean, in April of 2016, they had to do this really awkward apology video because I guess they violated Australia's biosecurity codes by not declaring the Yorkshire Terriers that she brought into the country. I mean, take a look at this.
Australians are just as unique, both warm and direct. When you disrespect Australian law, they will tell you firmly.
I am truly sorry that Pistol and Boo were not declared.
Now, fast forward to May of 2016, just 15 months after they said I do, and now the once happy couple is getting divorced. Vanity Fair was the first to report on this and said that Heard had cited irreconcilable differences. Not too long after that news broke though, Amber filed a restraining order against Johnny Depp, claiming that he had harmed her. She then wrote a scathing op-ed piece for the Washington Post after their divorce was finalized, citing that Depp, without, directly naming him, I'll give her that, he had abused her several times in their relationship. This led to Depp suing her and the Post for defamation, as the article generated so much negativity around his name that even Disney dropped him from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Although they still maintain that it was due to them wanting to go in a new direction, but the timing suggests otherwise. The truth about Amber Heard is that she did this because she wanted to generate positive publicity around her name, in order to advance her career while simultaneously destroying Johnny Depp's. She even went as far as allegedly painting on bruises for which Depp argued that he was actually the victim. While Amber Heard accused Johnny Depp of domestic violence, the Aquaman star was actually arrested for alleged domestic violence against her former partner photographer Tassia Van Ree in September of 2009. According to TMZ, Heard and Van Ree got into an argument at the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, and Heard allegedly struck Van Ree. She was then arrested and booked for misdemeanor domestic violence, but the prosecutor declined to move forward, supposedly because both of these women lived in California. Perhaps one of the biggest tells that Amber Heard has completely lost her mind is the fact that before she left Depp's house, she left him a little present. Although she denies it, many people saw the poop that she left on Johnny Depp's bed and immediately blamed Amber for pooping on the sheets. What is this? You know what I mean? Like, she actually blamed her Yorkshire Terrier, but other people are also suggesting that her co-conspirators and friends had a little bit of a role in this one.
It was not left by a 3 or 4 pound dog. I was convinced that it was either Miss Heard herself or one of her cohorts involved in leaving human feces on the bed.
Allegedly, she had been trying to set Depp up for a long time, and in doing so involved 2 of her friends. Just recently, Johnny Depp's security chief alleged that Amber Heard had actually physically abused Depp throughout their marriage. During the court proceedings, security officer Sean Bett appeared in court and gave his witness statement. In the statement, he said, "Throughout the course of Mr. Depp and Miss Heard's relationship, Miss Heard was verbally and physically abusive towards Mr. Depp," adding that on many occasions I witnessed her shout at Mr. Depp. I was also told by Mr. Depp on multiple occasions that Miss Heard had physically abused him. As for the credibility of this man, he was a former Los Angeles sheriff deputy that worked for Depp for the last decade. According to him, Miss Heard often behaved this way when she had been drinking, so he had to learn quickly to recognize the signs so that he could calm a situation before it escalated. Depp's security was cross-examined by lawyer Sasha Wass, who questioned his claim that he had never seen Heard with the bruises or marks on her face, but had several times witnessed Depp with multiple bruises inflicted by Miss Heard. Even though this is called The Truth About Amber Heard, we have to say that some of the details that we just discussed have yet to be officially confirmed, so please do not take all of what I said as gospel, but rather an insight into this toxic relationship that this pair had together. The reason that I assumed Amber may have been the catalyst, as I said earlier, is due to Depp's former romantic partners coming forward to defend him. Both Winona Ryder and Vanessa Paradis said that he never abused them physically, verbally, or otherwise, so it's a bit strange to see all of these sudden accusations coming out against someone that has such a, I don't know, clean track record, for lack of a better expression. Johnny Depp has had a career in entertainment for over 35 years at this point. He's portrayed some of the most notably bizarre characters of our generation, ranging from Captain Jack Sparrow to Willy Wonka and Sweeney Todd. The main reason he's become so good at playing these outlandish personas could be attributed to his friendship with director Tim Burton. Well, that and the fact that he's always seemed to be the type that marches to the beat of his own drum. He's done so many different characters and accents that you can't even tell where he's from anymore, although as of late he has certainly seemed tortured by his fame. He is without a doubt a master at what he does, both in music and acting, but that being said, the limelight has resulted in Depp kind of developing a very interesting relationship with alcohol. Although he claims he isn't an alcoholic, Johnny has admitted to self-medicating with alcohol, but also says that he doesn't have a compulsion to drink. What doesn't help is the fact that he's friends with so many celebrity icons who have been known to, you know, love the booze a little bit. For example, his drinking buddies have ranged from Marlon Brando to Hunter S. Thompson, and as of late he's formed a friendship with comedian and wild man Doug Stanhope. Another hard truth about Johnny Depp is that he isn't very good with his money, and he's also a bad judge of character. I mean, you got his toxic relationship with Amber Heard, that's a pretty good example of this. As for his money, Depp has just recently admitted to the High Court during his libel case that he lost $650 million after the height of Pirates of the Caribbean. Plus, he was left owing $100 million in taxes due to his business manager stealing from him. The worst part is that he got this news right as his relationship was turning sour, which would have been a lot of pressure on the guy. I mean, imagine being told that you were completely broke and then your ex says that you abused her, so now everyone in the media and the public hates you. Thankfully, that image has been lifted once we learn more about the inner workings of Amber Heard. Amber Turd, sorry. Allegedly, he had to even sell his yacht and a bunch of other assets just to even get him out of the red. Another truth about Johnny Depp that you can tell from his interviews is that this guy really cares about his fans. He would regularly dress up as his Captain Jack Sparrow character and visit a children's hospital or a school just to make the kids laugh. During an interview on the Graham Norton show, Depp spoke about his own personal struggles with his daughter's illness and said that he was really the one who benefited from those visits. Aside from everything we heard about Depp when all of this Amber Heard stuff started happening, having his ex-romantic partners step up to clear his name really opened a lot of people's eyes. In a statement to the courtroom, Vanessa Paradis said that they had been partners for 14 years and raised 2 children together. Through all those years, she knew Johnny to be a kind, attentive, generous, and a non-violent person and father. Vanessa and Johnny were together from 1998 to 2012, and she said that she has never witnessed him be violent or abusive at all. Next up to defend Depp was his ex Winona Ryder. Ryder was engaged to actor Johnny Depp for 3 years beginning in July 1990. She met him at the Great Balls of Fire premiere in June 1989, and then the two began dating 2 months later. In her statement to the courtroom, Winona said, "I cannot wrap my head around Heard's accusations. He was never violent towards me. He was never abusive at all towards me." These kinds of character statements about Depp are not just important for a court proceeding, but to learn who the man behind the Hollywood image truly is.